Well, in case you don't know.
Oh, well,
Yeah. What's good
Sorry.
for the back?
Sitting up straight.
Okay, like this?
Yes.
Not like,
Don't slouch.
just asking.
You'll feel it when you get to my age. It'll hurt you.
Okay.
But we're talking about noise today, not about our backs.
Okay.
Noise is a form of pollution, and not many people know this. And you will guess that when you walk around the streets of Lagos, honks are blaring
Please
away.
be specific. What areas? Who should?
Well, in fact, I should
Do
say
a leg bar.
walk around anywhere in Nigeria, because noise is part of us in this country. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, some downfall drivers actually play music on their horns, as they go along. And they don't know that is noise pollution. Then those who sell CDs and all that, they have their loudspeakers.
No, if you want to know some songs that you don't need to buy, just walk by the bus stops. Back then, I don't know what's happening now.
I was just going to say back then, not in the new.
Oh, it's
Noiseless
improved.
Lagos campaign. Yes.
Thank you, Jesus. The Lagos state government is trying to create awareness about the dangers of noise pollution, and that is why we have the General Manager, Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Dolapo Fashawe, with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. And we also have Kemi Remidairo, who is the founder, Kemi Remidairo Hearing Foundation.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, it's got a lot to do with hearing, hasn't it? We don't realize that noise can actually make us deaf. But we'll be coming to you to explain all that to us in just a moment. Now, Madam GM.
Yes, ma'am.
What is noise pollution? Let's start from there. That's pretty basic. Let's start
like,
from the bottom.
That sounds like a question from social studies.
To make it basic,
Yeah.
and for everyone watching, all ages, and no matter your level of education, sound is different from noise. Sound is what we're making here.
Okay.
Noise is when sound persistently becomes irritable, too loud, annoying, uncomfortable, unbearable. It is away from the norm. Even children, newborn babies, to 1 week old, they know noise. They jerk at noise.
But they make noise.
No, that one, we expect it, so we're used to it. It's not unbearable because we know we are planned and we know it's for a period of time. Babies don't cry till they are 7 years old. Although I have had a couple complain about the neighbor's baby as noise pollution. And my advice to the couple, when I looked through the law and I couldn't figure it out, was, I'm sorry, this baby will only be a baby for a period of time. Get earplugs.
For
or
now.
move your room. We have to be practical.
No, you said babies don't cry till they're 7.
I was confused.
Yes. So all
7
that,
years old.
yes, 7 years old. So all that one that they do before that, what is it called?
It's called crying, but it's not regarded as noise making.
Oh,
So it's
it
not-
becomes noise when they're
It's
after they're 7 years old.
No. I mean, noise is called noise when you're exposed to loud sound persistently, consistently, without a time limit.
Oh, okay. So the
So
child.
noise, a baby that cries 24 hours or 12 hours needs to be in the hospital. Something is wrong.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay, well, you haven't talked about joyful noise because of that. You make a joyful noise.
Joyful
Don't go there yet. Don't go there yet.
It's
But
just a brief joyful noise.
Exactly, not consistent.
Consistent,
Okay.
yeah, consistently.
When does it become a pollution?
Okay. Noise becomes a pollution when it's, like what she said, unbearable.
So that's just
Constant.
noise.
Yeah,
So when does it become noise pollution?
when it affects you. Like, okay, for example, the doctor said when you start feeling it, okay, like when mine happened, I got exposed to a noise that affected me. And it affected me in such a way that I felt the sharp sound. You know, it was a loudspeaker. And immediately the speaker made the loudest of its noise. Like, I don't know, I don't want to shout. Just that sharp sound. I felt the pain in my ear. I felt the pain, but because I was not educated about it, I never knew it was harmful. All I just said was, if this was what this guest was like, complaining about, then there's a problem. We have to put it off. So for like days after the event, I was hearing, you know, when you go to parties and after the party and you're hearing echoes, like you're still hearing the sound of the music. I had that for days. Till like 5 days, and it went off. Even when it went off, I just, okay, well, I'm free. I can hear now. I never knew I'd gone deaf at that minute.
Whoa.
I was still hearing with my left ear. So
You were deaf in one ear,
yes.
arising from the sound from a loudspeaker.
Yes.
So basically,
Jeez.
pollution,
Jeez.
noise itself is a pollutant. Anything that is not, it is not expected to be where it is, or it's causing damage in any way, is a pollution. So noise itself is a pollutant, just like smoke in the air or particulate matter in the air. What has happened to her is an effect of noise pollution, basically.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, you know, to be clear, I mean, you said that you didn't know about it at the time, but then there are more than 20 million people in Lagos who probably don't know.
Yes.
I mean, and this is just Lagos. And Lagos is one of those, you know, centers in Nigeria where there is a lot more knowledge, a lot more information than a good number of other parts. So how serious would you guess that the noise pollution problem is in our country?
It's very serious. Okay, after my incident, and I started my foundation to educate people about the same problem, what noise can cause to you, the danger, the expensive treatments you have to, for me to be able to hear you again, because I eventually went deaf totally on both ears. Wow. It affected this one profound, and it affected this severe. The severe only lasted for 1 year. So for going to 6 years, I was deaf, totally deaf. I wasn't hearing anything. So if for it to happen like that, I had to start telling people, oh, this thing, you just have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself. And in that process, I met a lot of people with the same problem. I met a lot of people. Oh, there was this mosque, very close, church close to my house. Every morning I wake up with them and all those stuff. I just discover I can't hear again. So I have met in the process. Even people had their companies and everything. And it's so uncountable. I also went on research after the whole process, and I read something on WHO website that says by 2030, by 2050, 60% of Africans are going to be deaf because they are actually not doing anything about it. That's alarming.
Ooh, doctor. Doctor, you were here last year to tell us about this campaign.
Yes.
Now, how effective has it been? Because the Danfo driver on the road is still unrelenting. He's still playing music on his honk. The churches they still have their big microphones.
60% of Africans being deaf, there's various range, is a wide spectrum of deafness.
Deafness, okay.
You see people who are 40% deaf and they don't know. Yeah. They just think it's part of...
No, I don't
That's
know.
how it is.
No, just hold, just slow down. How can you be deaf And not know.
So
I'm an example.
she, for the
I was
first
there
6
for 1
days,
year. I never knew.
so there's
Because
different
you could
types
still
of
vaguely hear.
deafness.
I was reading lips.
And you didn't know.
I did not. Until when people, like you're sitting here now, talking to me, oh, so, and you just start me. I'll be talking to you. Oh, sorry.
What did you say?
Yes. I'll
So
be
that's
talking
the
to you.
spectrum.
And I'm like, oh,
You know, Kemi,
I'm so sorry. I got carried away.
People actually adapt.
Yes.
I remember my grandma used to shout a lot to talk. And if you're not near her, I was young, she would shout that, speak up. She was deaf, tone deaf. And there's different level of deafnesses. For instance, you could be sensory deaf, that normal human decibels is not affected. Yet you can't hear a certain decibel that, like dogs and dolphins. They have different hearing spectrum. So do we. The ones that don't pick up sound, like you and I, like you can hear me now, can go totally zero and you wouldn't know. There's motor deafness, there's sensory deafness, and there's the slow one where you start to adapt. People start to move their ears close to you. They start to look you right in the eye, like you said, or they start to like
And you start
think,
reading lips.
yes, it's part of, it's normal.
You talked about decibel just now.
Yes.
What's the normal human range?
Okay.
Normal human, of course, we know there are some people.
So spirit. I don't know what you're talking about. Who hear things?
Normal human beings.
Okay. So to hear, the decibel has to range from like 12 to ridiculous amounts that will bust your ears. Now, from science, we have done research, and researchers said there's a certain amount of decibel of sound that you can be exposed to daily, during the day and at night. In Lagos State, it's 82 during the day and 67 in commercial and industrial areas.
Decibels.
Decibels. That is acceptable. In industrial areas, there's a lot of noise. In homes, is even in residential areas, is even lower. It's 42 during the day and 42 at night and 62 during the day. 42 at night because ambient noise is reduced. All the car horns, all the industrial noises, and that is why night vigils in a system where we don't have enough electrical support and grid, and we go to low income, high density area, and there's an organization who has a gen and is having a night vigil, and every other person is just, fanning or the best an inverter.
Yeah.
That's pure noise pollution. And I'm very happy today that between last year and this year, and I want all those watching at home to start to notice that the churches, the mosques, especially on the island and VI, the clubs and restaurants, even some big churches are now soundproof. And apart from that, we start to advocate that even those of you inside, and that's why Kemi is my poster girl, because she was doing her work. It wasn't the neighbors complaining. It was the guests that called her that thing is a little loud. At that time, she had heard the pop. I'm sure she was wondering that if it's so loud, maybe. You can imagine how many people got affected that day and continued to live with it.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Mrs. Remidaro, about the level of consciousness, not just awareness now, but consciousness of people. I would assume, because I mean, for me, if I heard a program like this and I heard, what the GM is saying, I'll probably be wondering, is there a technology I can install on my phone that can help me measure the sound that I can?
Yeah. There's something there's something called decibel meter. It's if
That's
you have
big English. It's noise meter.
yes, there's noise
Noise
meters.
meter.
On every Android
not
phone.
every
And
Android,
it
iPhone,
is
decibel
free.
meter. Just if you just click decibel, it brings it out. It has sound. There are free apps. You upload it on your phone. So once you get to anywhere at events, just put it up. Check the percentage of what it is. I do that a lot. Any events now I get to, immediately I discover that it's going to 100. That I'll just walk down to the engineer. I'm so sorry. One engineer was even proving it to me that this one is hand-on, that hand-on is inflated, that it's too high. And I said, you can't tell me that. You have to reduce it, or I just create a scene here. Yes, I do it a lot. I said, Google my name, you will understand what I'm saying rightly. So you have to reduce it. I do that for my neighbors. Once anyone is having a party and the DJ wants to break everybody, I still did the same thing yesterday. I went to a salon, and inside the salon, there was no noise coming out. There's a bread factory close to them. In fact, I've made the complaint already. There's a bread factory. Two things they are committing: sound, noise pollution and air pollution with smoke everywhere. But the sound one was constant. The gen from the generator, or probably they are listening. So once you know, she said something about 100 meters, mommy.
So when we want to measure noise pollution, like you want to report an airing, neighbor, church, mosque, salon, 100 meters from the source of the noise, according to Lagos State laws. If you're in a residential area, daytime, it should be 55. Nighttime, it should be 45. But what Kemi is talking about is right when you're in there.
Okay.
And it's interesting because we have taken our advocacy and Noiseless Lagos campaign to churches, to mosques, to motor parks, and to clubs. I have met a DJ who's been doing that thing for like 14 years.
He's protected, isn't he?
No.
No, it's not.
Oh, but is
His
he wearing a
headset.
head? He's
Only
wearing a
for him
headset.
to-
It's
No.
direct to him.
What we hear outside is what they hear.
Oh, God.
The one who is protected is the aeronautical engineer on the ground by the plane, because that noise is too much for human bearing. That will be at the source of the noise. It cannot be more than 90 to 100 decibels. Even if it's just there, you're putting yourself at arm's, in fact, in danger, consistently, repeatedly. It can be a Christmas concert or banger. She's an event planner, so she must have been near speakers
Oh, quite often.
quite often, and she was losing it slowly. And that day, the eardrum couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, Doctor, you didn't answer my question, which was from when you launched the campaign to now, how successful
So
has
I
it
was
been?
going
What
to
kind of
say-
progress are you making?
We're making quite a lot of progress because at least for one, people know there's an agency you can report noise pollution to. And we get about 300 to 400 reports every day. That is a progress. People didn't know that there was any agency in Lagos. They just lived with it. Secondly, I am always proud to say NASFAT actually announced that all their mosques remove the megaphones outside their mosques. NASFAT is not a main mosque, it's like a fellowship. But they're educated and well-studied people, and they realized that the Holy Book did not say anywhere.
And they were free to disturb their
Yes,
neighbors with noise.
and even in regular mosques now, it has been preached that anything that affects your neighbor is haram.
Okay. This conversation continues after this break. Do stay with us. Yes, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We were talking about the level of success of the campaign.
Yes, I was saying that it's been very successful, that right now I would want Lagosians to start looking out for people that sell music in traffic. They've reduced drastically because Section 187, subsection 1 says it is an offense to display or engage in amplifying your religious beliefs, advertising your goods, or talking to the general public above a certain decibel in public spaces in Lagos. And I want you to try it out. They have been educated. We gave them time. We spoke to Music Association marketers of Nigeria and gave them our laws. And I'm also happy to tell you that go to Ojota Motor Park. We took this campaign there, and within a few months, till today, we were there a few days ago, they don't use megaphones anymore. They use signboards for people to know where what is going. The chairman doesn't like horns. He says it is not a toy. Stop, bam, 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 bam. And number 3, you cannot sell alcohol in that motor park because it's starting to realize that the noise is affecting the people. Alcohol leads to more accidents. And so people are learning. The campaign, as far as I'm concerned, Noiseless Lagos, has been very successful.
Is it replicated in Urile and Ajegunle?
Try it.
And Oshodi.
I'm saying that
Those
because
Danfo
these
drivers.
No, I'm talking about motor park now.
Yes.
They have their rules.
Okay.
There's certain motor parks that still...
What about Danfo parks?
Ojota is inter and intrastate.
Yeah.
The Danfo Park.
Yeah. So what about the Danfo drivers who still play music on their honks?
Now, our next campaign is to NURTW.
Okay.
The truth is, a lot of us, including, I'm sure you and you, learned how to drive. Maybe you, officially, you rolling your daddy's car out of the house. People don't know. People don't know when to use the horn or not, because we all didn't go to driving school. I'm sorry to say, even I was taught how to drive by my dad. And the horn is like, hey, how are you? In the university campus. I see you in fellowship, So we have to go back to the drawing table. And we're working with FRSC as well. For you to get a license, they have to start educating you. It seems daunting, but nothing is impossible.
I think you just underscored something important here, which is taking the campaign, the Noiseless campaign. And I'll come to you about the event planning thing because I was going to ask you about that one. I didn't know it was something that you do. But taking this campaign to individuals to own the process as opposed to the motor parks and all those things, because people still have parties within their homes, not knowing that they endanger the lives of their, party participants and political party campaigns and all of those things. Taking that campaign to the individual, I think that's a daunting task.
Very daunting, as with every other campaign. Even check your blood pressure and exercise and take care of your health.
Please don't let my doctor hear that one.
So the truth is, what we're preaching, what the governor is advocating in Lagos is, let people take self-responsibility. Find a way. He doesn't want our revenue to go up from fines. He wants people... I say to my people that the higher revenue we have from fine, it means we're not doing our work, low compliance. And the governor emphasizes that all the time. So what we have to do, like he said, I like this media. I know a lot of people watch Sunrise. The horn and persistent noise is dangerous. we realized in the motor parks, we did hearing tests just last week, Kemi was there. 30% of those that have been there for more than 10 years failed.
Various degrees of
You
deafness.
were there. We had a consultant ENT surgeon. Some didn't even, but some came out to say, on this side, but on this side. From years of, they start being conductors from age 10. And then there's a study also conducted by pediatricians in University of Ibadan. And it says that children that grow up in noisy areas have lower IQs
Oh dear.
than children that grow up in quiet, calm, educate themselves in quiet areas. So what we're advocating now is go on to LASEPA website. It's very interactive. There's an opportunity to report noisemakers. And a lot of the things, you would see it there. People would say, thank you for coming to our aid. There was a 78-year-old man who wrote us a letter. It's right in the reception. That this is the first time he would enjoy anything from government. He didn't know he could report the religious organization next to him. And he had lived with it for 20 years.
Growing up, there were some areas that were no horn areas. Any such thing in Lagos
I am
now?
happy that you said that because September 22 in Lagos State is our No Horn Free Day. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of education. And we are planning to pull it off with NURTW, private individuals, drivers, and not horn free if there's an emergency.
Okay.
September 22nd.
Because I was looking, the day may change. I'll let you know the day.
How is that going to happen?
We'll come
no
back
horns?
before the day.
Okay.
I'm looking forward
have
to
a
it.
horn-free hour.
I'm looking
or two.
But
forward
are there
to
any
it.
areas where no horn is allowed?
Oh, yes. We have
Okay.
started putting our no horn signs, horn-free zones. LASEPA has horn-free zones.
Okay.
We have to do a lot of advocacy and educate people. But right now, 90% of our government hospitals are horn-free zones.
Okay.
We have put
The signs
the
up.
signs there. People have to get used to the sign before enforcement. So we have started asking for fines, seizing cars, and there's compliance.
Okay, I hope we won't come up with what we'll call noise police. We'll come to that one. But let me ask you, is there a need or a plan, or is this something already in the works, for event planners to have some form of, to have noise reduction or whatever it is, I don't even know how you're going to call it, you know, in planning events?
Okay.
Because, oh God, it's one reason I don't go to any event.
The music is too loud. The food is cold.
2 years
the drink
ago,
is hot.
2 years ago, my foundation organized a program. You know, events is actually my industry. So aside the fact that they all knew my story, because we all came together to make this, my hearing, happen. So 2 years ago, we did a program which is called Sound and Hair, which we had all stakeholders in the events industry. The program was organized by my Cameron Diary and Foundation. We brought all the stakeholders together, engineers, DJs, band, event planners, everybody, to educate them on the noise pollution their music actually causes at events and how it affects everybody. And at that, okay, the event planning industry, we have an association, which I'm a board member as well. So with that, we decided to take the responsibility as event planners ourselves to be a police to those bands.
Oh, so you are the noise police.
For events. Like I said earlier on, I do that a lot. Once I get to any event, what the first thing I do is, even at the time they are actually doing their sound check. Once you're doing your sound check, then we check it. We check it together. You do sound check. I check the decibel check, the decibel meter and everything to know if it is okay. You hear some band, you know, the problem we discover is actually most of those bands actually don't have the good speakers. some of their speakers are not
Obsolete
insulated.
technology.
Yes. And that was why the program actually included engineers. Another one is coming up very soon. It included engineers.
Well, how about those? And I'm glad you mentioned musicians, and I'm sure that Dr. Fisher will also want to, speak to this. Musicians usually have their own personal receptacles for
Yes.
sound. You use a headset as a drummer, so you're doing the right thing. As a guitarist, as a saxophonist, as a trumpeter, and all of those things. Each of them, sometimes they use, their own devices. Is there any way, because, once they are behind their equipment, most of the time, the only thing they want to hear is their own equipment.
Yes.
And if it's not loud enough, the engineer is in trouble.
You know what it
Yes.
is? Sorry.
Hey.
There are sound technologists
Yes.
and sound engineers.
Uh-oh.
We mix them together a lot in Nigeria.
Okay.
A sound engineer will never let you go above record. It's not even good for the musician.
Not
It
even,
will go
not even all the bands can afford
a sound
technology.
engineer.
Not
we
Okay,
all-
there's some reactions here for you, Madam GM. Kivie says, I should please tell you that the noise from the speakers in Ojota Park is still terrible. They still sell sachet alcohol in the park. Maybe she should visit those places more.
No, there are 3 parks in Ojota. This one is called BOD. And I assert we did reconnaissance several times before I can publicly make this ascertainment.
Okay.
BOD Park
Okay.
in Ojota.
Professor Inakena, what of people using earphones and their music is so loud that if you stand beside them, you can hear the sound of their music? Can the users be susceptible to deafness?
Yes. 100%.
Capital yes.
100%.
100% yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just one last question and then we round this off. Ayade is asking, is the identity of complainants protected? So people who report noise pollution in neighborhoods are not ostracized?
So today, just this morning, I was talking to a friend of mine in a particular religion. Somebody sent me a long complaint that there are 2 mosques. The first one is cooperating with the Lagos state laws, but the second one preaches all day and night. However, he's a Muslim in the society. He would like his report to be kept anonymous.
Okay.
And up till now, nobody knows who made that report, and we have rectified the situation. The website is very proactive.
Okay.
And you can come anonymous on our website.
Well, someone did ask, so how does he report a case of noise pollution? So they just go to the website.
lasepa.org.ng.gov. Report noise pollution. Upload a picture, upload a video, time when, and we will be there.
Okay. So all we can do is wish you all the best in this your campaign in a very noisy, should I say noisy
Be
Nigeria?
optimistic.
Or noisy.
Come
No,
on.
I mean, you're making progress already. So well done, who's also be in order.
And good luck.
And we wish you all the best for the future. And we look forward to the Horn-Free Day.
We would run it together.
Amen, she
Thank you
said.
very much for coming, Dr. Dolakbo Fashawe, GM, Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, otherwise known as LASEPA, and Kemi Remidairo, who is the founder, Kemi Remidairo Foundation, who actually went deaf from noise pollution.
No, please. Loud speaker. It's easier.
Full stop.
Okay.
We'll be right back with the next conversation. Stay with us.
COVID-19